Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fiction in Real Life. I'm Jennifer Moore, and with me is Heather B. Moore and Julie Daines. And before we start, we have a giveaway. It's a pair. Julie's gonna be Vanna, a pair of Fiction IRL socks that you can wear when you're deciding whether you would want to book something or not book something.
Right. Limited edition.
Limited edition. All right. Well, we're just going to jump right into our stories today. We found kind of a fun theme. I'm going to tell you first a story about this couple from Sweden, Ova and Lena Paulson. I don't know. I'm sorry, Ova and Lena, if that's not how we pronounce your names. So this happened in 1995. They lost the engagement ring or the wedding ring. I wasn't sure which one. She lost her ring and they tore their house apart. They even pulled up the tiles in their house. They thought, I don't know why they thought it got under the tiles. Maybe they had been tiling when she lost it or something. They pulled their house apart. They didn't find it. And then 16 years later, in their garden, she pulled up a carrot and her ring was wrapped around the carrot. And that's kind of a funny little picture. And what they think happened was maybe her, she was like cleaning up the kitchen and in the kitchen scraps, her ring fell in with the compost and it got mixed up in there and they put it out. But 16 years later, I think that's an adorable story. So I will go first. I would definitely book it. I love stories like that are just like kind of like a little miracle. And, it's obviously has there's a logical explanation, but it's still a really great, and it was a fun surprise, I'm sure, for Ova and Lena. Okay, Julie, would you book it?
I would book it. And I'll tell you why. I love stories. So if I were going to book this, I would, well, first of all, it's kind of like a real miracle that the ring could be found just so randomly like that. But I think the kind of stories I love are ones where maybe instead of they found it 16 years later, like someone else found it like a lot of years later, and then they trace it back. And so you kind of have a dual timeline story of this cute little Swedish couple and the person that found the ring trying to figure out the story that happened of how the ring even got lost in the first place. And kind of, I don't know, I think it's a cute way to tell two, different timeline stories while one is figuring out the past, but also living their life at this. I don't know. There could be a little romance over here, a little something over here.
And it's linked together by that ring.
Linked together with this ring, like maybe the granddaughter. I don't know, something like that.
Cool. What about you, Heather?
Yeah, I think it would be, like Julie said, a really fun idea. I was just thinking, what if this ring was lost at a time when maybe a couple, whether maybe they're engaged and she lost the ring and she decided they had some bumps in the road. So she decided it was like a sign. So she broke it off and then it's found like a number of years later. And so she decides maybe she's still single or whatever. She decides to look him up again and it kind of brings in, or he finds it. Maybe it was his place that it got lost at. And
like
so
a
he
second
reaches out
chance
to her.
Story. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's kind of like a second chance story. I don't know. Might be kind of fun.
That's cute. Okay, Julie, you have a story for us.
Yes, I have a story. So our family has a cabin near this lake in Montana, and we go there every summer and do, water sports and whatever. So it's kind of my extended family. But anyway, so we were there as always. And we went down to the beach, and here's a picture of our little beach. And I was going to go out on the boat. So, and like wakeboard or whatever, right? So I took my rings off and I handed them to my sister. And I was like, can you hold these while I go wakeboarding? And she's like, yeah, no problem. So I went out on the boat and, we were out there, we were gone for a long time. And I kind of even forgot about the rings, to be honest. And then we come back and then it's like the afternoon. So we just start packing up the beach and all of our stuff to go back to the cabin. It's like 2 miles down the road back to the cabin. So we get back to the cabin and still I hadn't thought anything about my rings. And now it's like dinner time and it's my sister's turn to cook the dinner. And so, but all of a sudden, I see her husband go outside and jump on an ATV and drive off. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird because usually, dinner for the whole family is kind of an event and the husbands are always helping but I'm like, whatever, no big deal. And I just went, about taking care of my kids and stuff. And then my brother-in-law comes back on the ATV and I'm just kind of like noticing, I don't know why, but they're like in the kitchen, like chatting in kind of a serious way. And then all of a sudden my sister comes out of the kitchen and she's like, Julie, I need to talk to you for a second. So she takes me back into like this back storage utility room area. And she's like, I lost your rings. I am so sorry. Ross just went back down to the beach and he was looking and looking and looking, and we cannot find your wedding ring anywhere. I am so sorry. I can't believe I lost your ring. She was like literally in tears because she lost my wedding ring. So then I'm like, her name is Linan, and I was like, okay, first of all, it wasn't even my wedding ring I had given her. It was like this little ring that I got from Israel. I don't even know if you can see it, but I had just been wearing this little silver ring and not my actual wedding ring in the first place. So I don't wear my wedding ring very often because it has a crack in it. But anyway, I'm like, it wasn't my wedding ring. And she was so relieved. I'm not kidding. She thought she had lost my wedding ring this whole time. And it was like this huge panic. Anyway, it wasn't my wedding ring. It was this other much less valuable ring. So anyway, then it comes nighttime and we're all going to bed. And all of a sudden she's like, Julie, I found your ring. It was in her pocket the whole time.
Oh.
She just didn't, I don't know, dig deep enough, I guess. Everyone's wearing baggy beach pants with saggy pockets and everything. So I don't know. Anyway, it's kind of funny.
That's cute.
Because she was really, could you imagine if you lost your, sister's wedding ring?
Yeah.
She was like the side of herself.
Yeah.
And I felt bad that her husband had been down there searching through the sand for hours. Oh my gosh.
Well, and they had this little private conversation, and he kind of was like, okay.
I'm like, it's so funny because I just noticed that something was up, but I still hadn't thought in my mind about the rings. I don't know.
Well, what do you think, Julie? Would you book it?
Would I book it? I don't know. I guess I would. It's not like a life-changing story, and it's not nearly as miraculous as, the carrot ring thing, but I think you could turn it into a cute little anecdote somewhere along the way there. I don't know. It's definitely not a main plot kind of event.
Yeah.
A side plot.
What about you, Heather?
I agree. I think it would be something that would be kind of a side plot, maybe characterize whether it was two sisters or sisters-in-law or like best friends or cousins. You can kind of just use it as creating some sort of conflict that would be a segue to something else, maybe bigger. And remember when you lost my ring? And I don't know, but it'd be a fun little secondary thing happening in the story.
Yeah, I agree. I like it. I think it's fun, especially just like the little bit of a twist at the end where you're like, oh, that wasn't even the real, that wasn't my wedding ring. And, and you could imagine the panic that had gone on and, what they had been like, what are we going to do? Are we going to have to buy her a new wedding ring? Are we going to, what I mean? And then they find out that little twist. That's always a fun thing in a story when people have freaked out about something and then found out that they didn't need to freak out about it.
Yeah. Big relief.
Big relief. All right, Heather, you have a story for us too.
Yeah. So my story takes place actually in Australia. And this scuba, let's see if it was a snorkeler, noticed something kind of strange about a fish that she saw as she was snorkeling. The fish was wearing a wedding band, a gold wedding band. And so she takes a picture of it thinking, well, if anyone's going to, maybe I'll try to see if I can find the owner of it. anyway, so she does find the owner, and it was a guy that had been in the same area like several months before with his wife and had lost his ring as he was swimming or snorkeling or whatever. But I thought it was kind of a fun story because, well, look at the fish. It looks really cute. I mean, obviously it's not probably safe for a fish to have this around its neck because it's probably traumatizing it. But anyway, so I just thought it was interesting. The snorkeler she sent out, she just posted it on her blog. And anyway, and this was in 2021. So, I mean, blogs haven't been really big, but I guess this blog somehow, maybe the guy had been searching, but it was in the same island, same area. And so same like little snorkeling bay. So it's kind of a fun lost and found story.
So
And of course,
would you book that, Heather?
I don't know. I mean, I think it maybe if I had it to where it was, I don't know, maybe a man lost a ring or a woman, and then maybe that relationship didn't work out, and then the snorkeler that found it, maybe it could be kind of a little rom-com that way. So I don't know. I think it'd be maybe a fun little plot thing that happened.
Okay. What about you, Julie?
I also think I would book it. I think that does make a cute little story and a cute little way to segue into a relationship. Maybe it was actually the ring of the snorkeler's, wife that passed away, but then he meets this cute other person who found the ring, kind of like what Heather was saying. I don't know. I think it could go somewhere.
I agree. I think it's great. Especially that whole her searching and finding her, the guy and I don't know if she's like a marine biologist, she's got to wonder. I just think about the fish, like how heavy is that ring around that fish? And is it like making that fish slow? Can he not escape predators? I don't know. Are there predators of those kinds of fish? I don't know. I'm worried about.
You would think that the ring would attract attention from a predator,
right? Because it would glint. Yeah.
Yeah.
The gold would be shiny and glint.
Maybe it's like made the fish into this beefed up, strong fish.
Like when you go walking with weights.
Yeah. Right? It's like strong, but yeah, that would be definitely a cute romance. Okay, so don't forget to send us in your stories. We love getting them. They're so much fun. So our email address is fictionirlauthors@gmail.com. So send them in. Weird coincidences, ghost stories, like legends from your hometowns. Those stories where a ghost appeared to a kid and told the parents something. Those are my favorites. I love those. But any of those stories, we love to hear them. And again, we have our giveaway for anybody that comments, and you can comment on our Facebook page. You can comment on our
they're soft.
our YouTube thing. You can comment wherever you see this. You can just leave us a comment, and that will enter you to win. And thanks for joining us today on
Fiction in
Real
Life.
See you later, everybody.